Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Welcome students to TV learning programs. Hope you are very fine. I'm teacher Julius once again, and today I'm going to learn with senior 4 students. And we are going to learn Unit 5, which is standards. Unit 5, which is standards. So I want to begin by asking you some simple question. What is a standard? If something is standard, what do you understand? If something is standard, if something is of good standard, what do you understand? Yes, someone is telling me that if something is standard, then it means it is good. It means it has no problem. It means that it is not harmful. Yeah, that one is good. So here we have to begin by defining what a standard is. So a standard, this one is a document. Which document? A document that is drafted after agreement. And this document shows or outlines the rules and regulations for producing a particular product. So it defines, it shows ways, it shows the procedures that you should follow when trying to produce a particular product. Meaning that it shows all requirements that you should be having in order to produce a particular good, such that at the end of it all, or the end result becomes good and therefore can be consumed without any problem. So a standard, you can say that this is a document. This is a document. Is a document drafted by agreement, meaning that different parties must come together and they agree on what should be followed. Drafted by agreement, showing or outlining the rules and regulations, for producing a product. So meaning that if there are rules and regulations, if there are procedures that you must follow in producing a given product, and you as the producer, you as the manufacturer, you happen to follow those rules and regulations that have been drafted, then the end product must be of standard, must be good, and therefore can be consumed. And you must know that these rules and regulations are always approved by a national body within a country that is responsible for certifying products that producers produce, and therefore they can be sold to the public and consumed. So these rules and regulations can be approved by a given body. And you all know that. Let me ask you one question. Which body in our country is responsible for certifying, for approving the products that are manufactured within this country? Which body is that? So that body is RSB. Do you know this? RSB. What is RSB in full? What is RSB in full? Yes, somebody saying Rwanda Standards Board. Good. Rwanda Standards Board. So this is a government institution that is responsible for approving and certifying products produced, and therefore they can be consumed. Rwanda Standards Board. So this one, the rules and regulations here, you cannot just implement them without the participation of this government body. It must be there. We have different stakeholders who get engaged during the standardization. So we have to define standardization. We have the standardization process. So what is standardization? You don't just wake up and you develop a standard. So we have standardization. So what is standardization? We have known what a standard is. Now what is standardization? So standardization, learners, this is the process now. This is the process. It is the process. It is a process, or you can say the act of producing uniform products. Uniform products on the market. Uniform products on the market. Uniform products on the market. That is what standardization is. It is a process. It has some steps, which go to almost 7 steps of standardization. And during this standardization process, there are different stakeholders. We have producers are consulted. We have consumers. We have the government. We have researchers. Those ones are all consulted, and they come to consensus, to agreement. That is a step in the standardization process. They come to consensus. They agree on what rules, on what regulations that should be followed while producing this particular product. E.g., maybe the standard for producing bread, the standard for producing or for manufacturing or purifying water for drinking. Now, if a product is standard, we have talked of this RSB, Rwanda Standards Board. This is a national body that is responsible for certifying products. It must be having this S mark. The S mark shows that the product is of standard and therefore can be sold. So I have a bottle of water here. I think you can see. What are you seeing? Which letter is this? So this letter is letter S, which shows that the product is standard. This S mark. S mark. The product is standard, and therefore this water can be drunk. You can drink it. There is no any problem because it is standard. This S mark, the standardization mark. So if it is approved, because there is what you call testing, they can test, laboratory testing. Then if they find out that this product is okay, all the ingredients are there, they can even test what you call the pH of this water, so that it does not harm us. If they find it is okay, then they will do what you call certification and accreditation. So they will certify it by this S, and therefore you can be sold and consumed. Then we have standard products. What are standard products now? If somebody asked you, what are standard products? These are some of the terms which should know. What are standard products? A standard product, who can tell me what a standard product is? Yes, somebody saying standard products. These are products. These are products. These are products that meet the requirements of consumers. Remember, any product made is made such that it is consumed. And if it is consumed and it does not satisfy the requirement of the consumer or the buyer, then it is not of good standard, or it is substandard. So standard products must meet the requirements of consumers or the buyers. Standard products must satisfy their needs. Then we have substandard now. Substandard products. Substandard products. So these substandard products, that is the opposite of standard products. Yeah? Is the opposite of standard products. So these substandard products don't conform, or these are products that do not meet the requirements of the consumers. They don't conform to the set standards in which they are supposed to be produced. So these are products, that do not meet the needs or the requirements of the consumers, Those are substandard products. And therefore, sometimes when you consume a substandard product, it may have a negative effect on your body. It may have a negative effect or side effects on your body. Those substandard products. Therefore, if you are going to purchase a product like the drinking water, you must check, is there this S-mark certification by RSB, Rwanda Standards Board. So you must check this S-mark. So we have 3 levels of standardization, which I'm not going to write, but I want to talk about them. We have the national level of standardization, we have regional, and we have international. Now, with the national, we have our RSB, Rwanda Standards Board, our national body, which is responsible for certifying all products that we have. And this, we have even the East African Standards Mark, which you can't easily see, and that is for regional. And then we have international, ISO, International Standards Organization. Are we together, learners? So you must look for this S-mark to see if the product is standard and therefore safe for consumption. S-mark certification, which is put there by, when it is within the country at national level, the national body responsible for certifying, approving, verifying whether products are okay for consumption. Then, I want now to ask you, do we need, is it important, is it significant, is it vital to produce goods that are standard, to have these rules and regulations that will guide the producers when manufacturing goods? Is it important for the manufacturer? Is it important for the government? Is it important for the producer, for the consumer, or the society? So you have to ask yourself that question. So there we are going to look at the importance of standardization, of producing goods that are of standard to different parties. So let us look at now what would be the importance of standards. The importance of standards. The importance of standards. Let us first look at this to the government. Is it beneficial to the government? Is it important? A government to have standards for producing goods and services. Importance of standards to the government. You must know, if we have standards in our country, like we have RSB, Rwanda Standards Board, responsible for making sure that goods that are being manufactured here, let it be, I can talk about maybe different types of juice, mineral water that we have, and other products that are of standard, it will make it easy for the government to export and access the world or the external markets. And therefore it can sell them and it generates revenue. So one of it is that it helps the government to access external markets by selling its goods. It makes it easy. It makes it easy to access external markets. External markets. So the government can easily export its goods to other countries because the products being sold are of standard. They are not harmful, and therefore they can be consumed, no side effect to people's health. So it makes it easy to access external markets. Are we together? Then we have another point that if the government has standards, it helps it to protect the health of its citizens, the health of its. You see, the interests of the government is to protect its citizens. To protect its what? Its citizens. Then we have, it helps to develop a culture. So decision within the country, it helps to develop a culture, It helps to develop a culture of applying quality management systems. A culture of applying quality management systems. Quality management systems. So meaning that here, if everyone knows that if you are going maybe to set up an enterprise that is any production entity or any company or any business, and you intend to produce or manufacture some goods, and you know very well that there are standards that you must follow while manufacturing given goods. So when there are standards well formulated, well known, then that one brings in or helps a country, helps citizens of the country to develop a culture of applying quality management systems. In this case, when you are going to produce standard products, still you must have good management. There are some things that you must carry out: quality control, quality management, quality assurance. There are some things that you must carry out. So here you must ensure that you develop the final product must be of good quality. So in this case, with quality management, there are some activities that you must work out so that the final product is of good quality. Let us continue and we look at what could be more importance of having standards to the government. Are they important to the government? So in this case, it strengthens and harmonizes the metrology system of the country. What is metrology? That is scientific measurement. So it strengthens and harmonizes the metrology, from metrology. The metrology system, it strengthens and harmonizes the metrology system in the country. So with metrology, we look at the scientific measurement of goods, measuring goods that are being sold. So with standards, for example, now we have different instruments that we use while selling goods and services. Goods that help us to measure, like the beam balance. We are those ones which they use and they measure. If you want 10 kilograms, they can measure and identify 10 kilograms. So they must make sure that that instrument used for measuring the kilograms that you want, is it of standard, or it cheats the customers, or it cheats the consumers. So it is very, 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 very important. Then let's look at what could be the importance now to the society. The importance of standards to the society. The importance of standards to the society. And remember, the society sometimes is the consumer of the goods that you have produced. Is the consumer of goods that you have produced. Now, as the society, which is made up of consumers, is it important to have standards? Is it significant? Is it vital? Or it is useless? So we are going to see now the importance of standards to the what? To the society. So here, in this case, one, you know that when goods are of standard, then here, when you consume them, your health is protected. That should be one, importance of the standards. So it protects the health of the consumers in the society, the health of consumers in the society. And again, you must know that within society we have the environment. So with standards or having standard products, then that one will protect our environment from destruction. For example, if this is a packaging material that was made and it is of standard, after dumping it there, then it decays. When it decays, it forms manure. It is not now degrading our environment. So you can say again that it protects standards, will help to protect the environment from destruction. Destroying, degradation. So to degrade, that is to destroy the environment, destruction of the environment. Because goods are of standard. Goods have no problem. Then we have, if goods are of standard, it helps to resolve. It helps to resolve or solve conflicts. It helps solve conflicts between the customers and the producer, in this case, the one who is producing, and the producer. What do I want to mean here? If you produce goods which are of standard, and someone buys them and consumes them, then finds there is no problem, then he or she will not conflict with you. But now, you produce something which is substandard and sell it to a customer, and consuming it, then it brings a side effect on his life. Then he may attack you. But when products are of standard, then it will solve conflicts between the customers and the producer, or in this case, the seller. Are we together? So standards are very important. Even you can look at the producer himself. Is it important to him? Is it important to him? So now, I want us to look at some few points. What could be the importance to the producer now? This is a manufacturer of goods. Importance of standards. Now this is to the producer. Is it important to the producer, the manufacturer of goods and services? One is that it helps him when he produces goods that are of standard. It helps to still access or to export his goods or to access external markets. This also applies to him, to access external markets. Then when goods are of standard, it makes his goods competitive on the market. That one you must know. Your goods become competitive. Huh? When goods of start makes his products competitive on the market. Competitive on the market. And still you must know that when your goods are of standard, sometimes this may reduce or it may lead to low cost of production. It helps in minimizing costs of what? Cost of production. Huh? It helps in minimizing the costs of production. The costs of production. Cost of production, this will be the expenses made while producing goods and services. How? If you follow the set rules and regulations, their standards, you will minimize errors. Instead of producing goods, they are substandard, and you fail to get customers to consume them, you will have incurred expenses or losses. But when you follow standards now, it will help in minimizing the cost of what? Production. Are we together? So I have an activity for you guys that I want you to try. I have question 1, which says write short notes on the following: a standard, standardization, standard products, substandard products. Then question 2, we are saying Rwanda Standards Board regulates and certifies products produced in Rwanda. Why is it vital to produce standard products in your country? Now here, we have the word vital. The word vital means something very important, significant. Why is it used? Why is it important? Why is it significant? So here you will generalize, you will give the points in general. Why is it important to have goods that are of standard, to produce standard products? So make sure you put it down. And for more information, you can visit the Entrepreneurship for Rwandan Schools Learners Book 4. You can get more on Unit 5 about standards. Thank you very much for listening and watching. Hope to meet in the next lesson. Thank you. Stay cool. Stay safe.